All right, so I'm getting fed up with YouTube, so I'm just gonna use what I do know how to use. So hopefully the week I'll get a little bit better. Um, yeah, I did stop recording. I'm just gonna post this video in just a second. But I'm gonna go over a couple of things that I do know. You don't have to repeat the semester. No, it doesn't affect your spring break. So you're still gonna have spring break next week. There is no interim. I am trying to figure out if there's a waiver. I'm gonna ask that question tomorrow when we meet with some of the administrators. So Unit 6 is still a go. All of that information I'm going to talk about in just a second. And then Unit 7, that'll be your next test after Unit 6. If you missed last week's work, I don't know about yet. And I'm going to ask probably tomorrow. I'm going to ask about final exams, like what's the thought process on it. It's probably going to be online if we go back to school. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like we'll be out for a couple more weeks, but I don't know if that'll be all the way to the end of school. So please stay up on your work because they might come back and say, hey, May 16th, we're going back to school. Like, I don't know. So I'll try to keep you updated as much as I know. I'm also going to ask about performance finals. I'll probably give that to you electronically anyways, but I want to get that out to you as quickly as possible so that you have enough time. I don't want you stressing, but I do want you to be prepared. I'm going to ask about extra credit and, that kind of stuff. And also how to do making up previous tests. I know there's some of you who are still missing tests. Now, just to remember, I did give you an opportunity before all of this craziness happened. And I said, hey, March 3rd was the deadline. So it has been a hot minute, but I'm going to ask about how we can go about doing that. Final exam, and that's going to replace it. Because some of y'all are missing tests from January. So just keep that in mind. Now, Unit 6 tests, the things that it's going to cover are literal equations. So that's like isolating one of these variables. If I said solve for I, and you get I by itself on here. Or comparing functions. So graphically or algebraically. Like which one of these functions has a greater max or min. And then constraints and objectives. Y'all should have seen this either today and then a couple weeks ago we actually started working on this. I'm going to go over a little bit of this in just a second. There are 3 AKS on this test. That means there's 3 different grades, if you will. And then there's going to be 11 questions. The review guide has already been posted. So if you want to just look at the stuff, just to make sure that you understand what is going on. So somebody asked me to recap for this one. This is the video that you're supposed to watch today. But I'm just going to go over exactly what to do on it. A lot of y'all are still struggling with inequalities. So with that being said, when you graph these, it says x is bigger than or equal to -1. Okay, well, -1's right here. And when x is -1, it's right here, right? Okay, so I'm going to draw a line, a solid line, straight up and down. Yep, that's a line, okay? And I'm going to shade above -1. So I'm going to shade to the right, okay? Shade to the right. I'm going to use highlighters so you can see that. Okay. Shade to the right. Okay. Now, this one right here is y is bigger than -2. Okay, so we're going to use blue. And when y is -2, that's right here. I'm going to draw a dashed line going across. Okay. And it's going to be when it's bigger than. So I'm going to shade above -2. So it's going to be shading this way. Okay. And then I've got y is less than 2. So I'm going to go to where y is 2. I'm going to draw a straight line that's going to be dashed. Okay. And I'm going to shade below 2. So shade below 2. And then when x is less than 5. So I'm going to go to where x is 5. I'm going to draw a line straight up and down. And it's going to be a solid line because there's a line underneath, right? Okay? And then I'm going to shade when x is less than 5. As you can see, this space right in here is where everything is kind of filled in and it crosses. These are kind of your constraints. This is where you're kind of saying, here are the boundaries, okay? That's what this is saying. So your answer would be in here. Now, You could have an answer on this line because it's solid, or you have a dot right here that's an answer, or this right here, but you could not have one of the points be on this shaded or this like dashed line or this dashed line. That's not included. Okay. Hopefully Autosys helps. If not, just let me know and I can do something else. Okay, this is another one that somebody asked for, and on these, when I think of constraints, I'm thinking like, this is for lack of a better metaphor, it's kind of like dating. It's kind of like, okay, this is me as a person, and then these are the qualities that I like. I like somebody with blue eyes, blonde hair, and 6'3". Okay, that's kind of like, these are the different types of things that I want in the person that I'm trying to date. Okay, so with that being said, what you're going to do is you're going to graph these constraints first, and then you're going to plug them into here to see your minimum and your maximum, because the objective of this is to find your min and max. It's kind of like, okay, well, I'm only going to date somebody who's 5'8" to 7 feet tall. That's my min and that's my max, but that's what we're trying to figure out. Again, for lack of a better metaphor. Okay, so your constraints, you're going to always have this little like corner be 0, 0. Okay, remember this is your x and this is your y, you know this. Okay, so first this constraint right here says x has to be greater than 0. Well, duh, okay? You got to be bigger than 0 feet tall, right? Hopefully. And then y is bigger than 0. So he's at least got to have hair, right? All right, so these next two, you're going to graph these lines, but you're going to have to put them into that y equals mx plus b format first. Okay, so I'm going to take this first equation, and I'm going to put it into this y equals mx plus b format. All right, we're getting rid of our blonde hair, blue eye guy. Okay, so we're going to take this first equation, and we're going to put it in that y equals mx plus b format. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I'm going to get 2y is less than or equal to negative x plus 14. I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. So y is going to be less than or equal to negative 1/2 x plus 7. The reason why I got 7 was because I took 14 divided by 2. Remember, this like division, you have to divide everything that's on top by it. Okay, so now I'm going to graph this mess. So I'm going to go up to y equals 7. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to go down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. I'm going to repeat that. Oh, sorry. Process. So fun fact, last night my dog totally smacked me in the eyeball. And so now I have like this awful black eye. I'm kind of glad the YouTube live video isn't working because I look atrocious. It's fine. Alright, so then there's going to be this solid line right here. Oh my god. Who lets me draw a line? Okay, so this point right here is going to be 0, 7, right? That's something to keep in mind. Okay? Alright, then I'm going to graph this other line. So I just graphed this guy. Now I'm going to graph this guy. Okay? I want to make sure. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to solve for y. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. And that's going to give me y is less than or equal to negative 6x plus 18. Okay. So I'm going to graph the point 18. So that's my y-intercept. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Beautiful. And I'm going to go down 6 and to the right 1. Yep, down 6 to the right 1. 6 to the right 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right 1. Yeah, cross it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right 1. Beautiful. And I'm going to have a straight line going right there too. Okay. And remember how these are inequalities. And we've got to make sure that we shade, right? Now the question is, do we shade above or do we shade below? Now, again, you can memorize memorize how to do this from that little chart, but I like to plug in 0, 0. Okay, so I'm going to take the point 0, 0 and I'm going to plug it in because that point is right here. I'm going to plug in 0, 0. I'm trying to figure out if I should shade below the line or above it. Okay, well, 0 is going to be less than or equal to 18. So I'm going to shade below, right? Okay, so below this blue line, I'm going to shade. Okay, and then I'm going to check with the red one. I'm going to plug in 0, 0. I'm sorry, I graphed that red one wrong. This is why I should have the YouTube live video. So, I did graph that red one wrong, and I'm sorry. Let me change that, because it should be down, it should be the opposite direction. I was going to say that shading's not going to work. So, let me change that really quick. Sorry for being the worst. I'm going to blame it on the fact that my dog punched me in the eye. He's super cute though, so it works out, right? Okay. So when I draw this one, I'm still gonna have a point at 7. 1, 2. And I'm gonna go down 1 to the right 2. Down 1. Oh, I did that right. Dude. Nope, that's right. So then if I plugged in 0, 0 into here, I would shade below. So that's crazy. So when I shade, I'm going to do below the red line, right? And then I'm going to do underneath the blue line. So this is going to be here. So the point that is my max and my min for these is going to be this point right here, which is that 0, 7. So that's going to be my max that I'm going to plug in. And then for my minimum, I'm going to plug in right here where it crosses, which is 1, 2, 3, I think. 3, 0. Make sure that's right. Plug in 3 into here. Yep, 0. Yep. Okay, so that's going to be my max and my min. Those are the points that I'm going to use in order to find my max and my min. So it's kind of like the extreme. Like the worst person that you've ever dated and the best person that you're going to marry, and it's great. So that's your max and your min. You're finding your extremities, if you will. All right, so I'm going to take 0, 7, plug it into this equation, and find my min. Okay, so I'm going to go into C, 0 goes in for X, and then for my Y, that's going to be 7. And so when I plug that in, I'm going to get C equals 56. Cool. Okay, and then I'm going to plug in this guy right here, this 3, 0. I'm going to plug it in. 2, 3, 0. So that's going to give me 6. So my minimum is going to be 6. My maximum is going to be 56. Okay? So this is guy who's not so great versus guy who I want to be with for the rest of my life, right? Okay. Just bear with me on that one. Okay? I'm going to post another video in just a second on a couple other things. Please just send me any of your questions. I'm sorry that video didn't work. But obviously, y'all add me on Remind, and y'all can text me anytime during the day.